I don't put my charging stuff out.
I also stockpile batteries.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, when you're living in your car, you don't want to rely on running your car.
I guess, yeah.
Not good for...
How big are the batteries you run?
I have
Hey. Can I get a foot-long roast beef on Italian herbs and cheese, please?
I have a 24,000 milliamp and then like 12,000 milliamp.
Yeah, I got a 22,000, a 20, a 12, a 10, and a 4.
Oh, and I got 2 little 10,000.
Yeah,
Yeah. I just keep them all under my seat.
Yeah.
Or in my bag. I keep them in one of my cycling bag when I'm wherever I am.
Just cheddar.
White cheddar?
Sure, yeah. That's
You
cool.
only get 1 kind of cheddar.
Okay, well.
You just have the orange tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Black olive.
Yes, please.
Cucumbers. Cucumbers. That's good.
Chicken breast wrap. Chicken breast wrap, sure.
Where are you from? West Coast?
Vancouver Island. Cool. Can you spot that?
Yeah, sure.
I meant no, no. I meant can you spot that I'm from the West Coast?
Yes.
Okay. What gives it away? What's the tell?
There's a handful of reasons, but I think the big one is like,
Yeah. Can I get lettuce, green peppers, cucumbers, cucumbers, a little bit of red onion, banana peppers.
Banana peppers?
Yeah, and your house sandwich sauce. Your what's it called? Yeah, and salt and pepper. Yes, please.
that what you're doing isn't totally crazy out there.
Yeah, I guess not.
I mean,
it's a bit more common to hitchhike out
The
there.
other options would be the far opposite coast, and I'd be able to hear your accent.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that's sort of.
Do you want a drink?
No, it's all right.
Flatbread of the sweet chicken and then you get $12.60.
It's just that you don't.
Everything is in right above?
Yeah.
Is it for this one?
I don't really find it's possible to do these kind of things out other parts of Canada.
Yeah.
For your roast beef?
Yes, the recipe.
Just the sandwich?
Just the
or-
sandwich.
At $10.50.
I'll carry that for you. You got like
That's a roast beef.
Okay.
all this equipment.
Thank you.
Wait, meal?
No thanks.
Among other things, I also pick up on accents really well.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I've moved around my whole life. So.
Yeah. Can you do accents at all? You just can pick up on them. Like, because a lot of people that
And I can replicate certain ones that I need
Okay.
to use.
yeah.
For example, apparently my French accent's fairly decent for an Anglophone.
Oh yeah.
You can also mimic them fairly well.
Yeah. Like I can definitely not.
In certain environments, an accent itself will completely change. But you can also kind of tell, like, if someone's from Southern Ontario, it's pretty obvious. Very, very Anglophone sounding. Propensity to be afraid of everything.
Yeah. I just find the closer you are to a city, the more afraid you are of things.
Yeah.
And that could be Vancouver as well. Like, yeah, that's kind of worldwide.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Vancouver is also, I mean, like, BC is a totally different animal, that's the thing. I find it very culturally surprising.
Mm-hmm.
It's very isolated. It's also very homogenized there. You might have people in Southern Ontario very like soft and exposed to the world.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also people from all over the world, and I found not in Vancouver itself, but like rural BC is generally like white or from a former colony, English colony.
Yeah, I'd say that, except for Vancouver. Vancouver is your exception,
yeah.
which is very multicultural.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of Vancouver, it's yeah, I'd agree with you. I'm from Vancouver Island. It's a very not multicultural place, put it like that.
After living in Toronto, it's just like uncomfortable for me now when there's just like one type of person. It just feels wrong. Like one skin color everywhere. You're like, this is weird. Manitoba is mostly like that, but not in Winnipeg again, because Winnipeg's a bit more of a city, or becoming one, or trying to.
Yeah. Again, on this trip, it was the first time I actually went into Winnipeg, and I spent a night there. And I was just kind of bypassed it, and I camped on the outskirts before, but never really went into it. And I kind of like this city. There's like, I don't know, it seems lively. It's got culture to it. I expected Winnipeg to be kind of soulless.
Yeah, no, it's not Saskatchewan. A lot of people make that mistake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's probably one of the better places in the country to live, pragmatically. It's got a good cost of living. Unemployment isn't super high.
Yeah.
It's growing. It's never really like, it's weathered recessions fairly well. Like, its economy, now that Winnipeg itself is starting to reach 1 million people, they're actually building infrastructure there. So a lot of the cities I've lived in and spent time in Canada, that's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah. See, a ton of people are getting priced out of British Columbia, essentially. Like, you can't afford to live there.
Yeah.
Like, it's a nice place to be. But how can someone just starting the career actually afford to live there?
The income gap is humongous there, because you can both, like, I basically was encouraged to continue living there the way I was when I was traveling through there.
Yeah.
And it was very apparent also that I probably wouldn't want to live with that cost of living, nor could I.
Yeah.
But Ontario, for example, now with its hydro problems, is getting just about as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately. I'm moving to Montreal now, which has a comparable cost of living to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
The biggest thing there is they have one of the best work-life balances for a North American city.
I knew it was relatively inexpensive to live there, and I knew, just the cost of living was decent, and it's a beautiful city. I didn't know. Yeah, I guess if it's got a reasonable cost of living, then the work-life balance could be better, because, well, not all your money goes towards just paying your rent.
I mean, economies are going to be what they are, and certainly a smaller cost of living makes it better, but
Ontario 17 East.
Winnipeg has a smaller population and surrounding area population overall.
Yeah.
And their cost of living is comparable. It's about the same.
Yeah.
But it's also a place with poor work-life balance. Like, everyone just kind of works all the time.
Yeah.
So I think the only real barrier for Montreal is if you don't know French, it's very difficult to get a job there.
Yeah. Are you fully bilingual?
I wouldn't say so.
No.
Like, I'm still taking tutoring. I can function.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand what I'm hearing. I can have a communication, but it's very different when you need to work and communicate concisely and professionally. So, I mean, the jury's out. A lot of people say you don't really need French to live there, but it depends on what you aspire to do with your life.
I don't think I'd want to live there without any French, and if I did live there without French, I would make it a big effort to establish that, because
there's a pretty negative stigma in Quebec, especially how Anglophones have treated Francophones for so long. So now, especially for Anglophones that have lived there their whole life, it's a little embarrassing, because they may just not bother.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, the Anglophone population there has been far more privileged.
Yeah.
Like, disproportionately wealthier families. And now a lot of the Anglophones that are there are Anglophone, at least in downtown Montreal. And they're wealthier. But obviously, that doesn't just stick forever. So there are Anglophone communities there now that are just saying, like, hey, this is getting ridiculous. We shouldn't be treated like second class. But realistically, like, I think people should learn French all over the country. So
Well, Canada claims to be bilingual.
Well, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Most provinces aren't, though.
No, British Columbia is very not.
Turn left to stay
British
on
Columbia,
Trans-Canada
especially with all its
Highway,
local
Ontario
businesses,
17
it's odd.
East.
They actually don't offer a lot of services in French that you would expect. Like labeling on food is not bilingual in a lot of places that I've seen there, which is kind of bizarre to me. But Manitoba is actually has the second largest French population, Francophone population in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Like per capita or like in total? Just by numbers?
By number.
By raw number,
Yeah. Like a lot of people are like, what about Acadia? But
Because I think New Brunswick when I think of like the most French non-Quebec province.
yeah, overall it may be, but its population's lower. It's
It's
the third
smaller,
largest
yeah.
population, and you're also contending with like half of Acadia is actually in the United States, so it's really not all in Quebec. But even Manitoba is not technically bilingual. Quebec isn't technically bilingual. The country is bilingual.
Yeah. I've heard Ottawa's a very bilingual city and a lot of government work, and you have to be bilingual for a lot of those jobs.
As a person who speaks both languages, you would probably find that within like that region of like Ottawa that we. So in Manitoba, I've been working as a consultant and got work out my yang in Quebec, and right now in Montreal, it's quite a struggle.
Is it? Yeah.
But
What type of consulting do you?
do security for security consulting for large events, just because there's a city the size of a population. I create the groundwork and programming to allow them to.
Is that difficult to break into?
As a Canadian, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's great. We live a great life, but if you want to get into it, that's what I want to do. There are a lot more NGOs that do work in those situations coming out of Montreal than there are from Winnipeg. So
Yeah.
we've gotten a good chunk of experience.
Yes, I
Across
have.
downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Whatever.
Thunder Bay used to be a habit in pulp and paper again, or sort of an inferior good, so it's hard to really make a profit at work after university. And I'm like, I almost considered staying, but I also figured, I don't want to just get distracted by this money. And a lot of people came back with their tail between their legs.
Yeah. And the business I worked for there went under because of that most recent downturn.